Welcome back to our garden. Today we're going to show you a technique that we've been using to boost our cucumber growth. Last year we didn't have as much success as we wanted, and this year we've been using compost tea, which has greatly benefited the cucumbers, as you will see in the rest of the video. So this summer we've tried something new out where every morning I do a basic compost tea routine where we take some compost and mix it with water and then pour it with various plants, which gives it a quick access through liquid form of some NPK stuff, so nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. It's not the fanciest, but it's very inexpensive, and it doesn't take too much time. So we'll go through the steps that I do, that we use to make some compost tea. All right, so first things first, we need compost. We use compost that we get for free from the city. It's not the best compost, but it's free and it works. And then a container to mix things in. And then we have also a container of water that we've let filled up yesterday, and then just let it sit out so that it can evaporate some of the fluoride and stuff that is in our tap water. So some of those chemicals evaporate so that when it mixes with our compost, we get more of the benefit of the compost. And I do it very simple. I've seen lots of videos of complex things. Also seen videos of simple. We like simple and cost effective, so that's what we're doing. So I poured just a scoop of compost in. I like to put the compost in first, then I take some water from the container that sat out for a day, fill up near the top, and then I use a very fancy stick from the garden, super high tech indeed, and stir it a little bit just to make sure that the water is getting mixed in with the compost. And I leave this here a little bit because it drips out, so I get a little extra water, but we'll move it so it's easier to see for the camera for this portion. But I just do some simple stirring, making my tea. And then I let it sit for about 15 minutes, and then I go and pour it. So we'll come back in about 15 minutes and show you how we apply. All right, so the compost tea has been sitting for about 15-ish minutes. You can sit it for longer and you might get more benefit, I'm sure, but this gives you a decent amount in a short period of time, and so it works with our time schedule. And then all I do is give it to certain plants. It rotates. We rotate throughout the week. Certain plants get it at different times. For example, our cucumbers are getting all the compost tea today, so each plant will get a little bit. All right, so I just do a little bit at each spot here at the base, and I try to go a bit slow so that it has a chance to absorb. So I do a few plants at a time, and then just cycle back through. I had seen compost tea done on various YouTube videos, but it was pretty complex and time consuming. Whereas I saw this same process we're doing here on the MI Gardener YouTube channel. Awesome place, super inspiring. And he was saying how you can still do it in this simple format and get a good amount of benefits. Maybe it's not the most beneficial as you could get, but it's pretty straightforward and pretty simple. And we have noticed positive results in various spots where we're seeing better plant growth. Some plants are making comebacks, and it's really not too hard to do a little bit every morning. So that's one round. I'll keep doing this over and over until we get every single cucumber plant at least a little bit of compost tea. All right, fast forward a month. We've been compost teaing this whole stretch about 3 times a week for this last month. And as you can see, it's very green, lots of great leaves. We've noticed that the plants are growing the leaves quicker and nicer. We're getting a lot more of a harvest. It's not technically every day, but it averages out to at least a cucumber a day for this last month, which has been great. We've used them to pickle, we've used them in salads, and then we've also just eaten some straight. It's been a very tasty month for cucumbers. We're growing 3 varieties of cucumbers this year. First is Telegraph, which we have quite a few up here. One that's right next to each other, that's pretty cool. That aren't yet ready to harvest, but getting close. They're growing. Supposed to be ready in a few days. So down here, we'll come back in a moment, but that one we're harvesting today. That's a nice, good size. Another type that we've had great success with is a pickling cucumber. If we go over here, here's one that we'll harvest in a little bit as well. They don't get nearly as big as the Telegraphs, but we get quite a few of them. So not as large in size, but in quantity, they're doing quite well. We have a lot that are getting ready to grow for us. We pickle those, and those have been delicious. And our third variety is a Japanese cucumber, which we got some growing over here. These tend to be a bit longer and grow kind of interesting shape. There's one right here as well. Be a bit more narrow and longer. And then we got one down here that's been hanging out that we'll probably harvest today. And it probably could grow a bit more, but we'd rather harvest it a little early so that the plant doesn't think it's finished and will produce more cucumbers for us. There is a very cool looking one. It's like a special case. So even though it's grown kind of funky, you can still slice it up and it'll go great as a fresh, crunchy component in a nice salad. All right, so for today we got 4 cucumbers, some with interesting shapes, but they still taste good. At the end of the day, that's all that matters. We do harvest those a little bit early, often, just to make sure that we don't let them get too ripe on the vine. If they get overly ripe on the vine, the plant will think its job is done and then start to die off. If we cut them a little early, like so, then the plant doesn't realize that we're just harvesting it, and it'll grow some more, and which is what we want. So to summarize, compost tea is something we're going to continue doing for the rest of this summer, and then for the years on ahead. It's been really productive, giving us healthy looking cucumber plants, and most importantly, tasty cucumber.